My name's Natasha. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the river system here and of course do a fish feed as well. So I've just been told by the guys that normally do this, filling in for them today. They did a bit of work here the last few days and we've got the barramundi hiding at the moment. I can actually see them up that way. But if you do see them, keep an eye out for them. I'm going to try and encourage feeding them if they come this way. And we do have a monitor that's been around lately too, Merton's water monitor, so keep an eye out for him too. Let me know if you do see him, please. And he's been, yesterday he was actually sitting up on that log on the other side there, so see if he makes an appearance, so yeah. Now I just wanted to ask, has anyone been down to the Douglas Daly region, or around Daly River, or even down to the Oolloo crossing at all? Have you been down that way before?
Nah.
No? Okay, it's a beautiful area. It's definitely worth checking out if you're up here for a little bit, travelling around the top end. It is one of our major river systems, of course, the Finnis River, and of course, it's part of that system at least. This particular area represents the Oolloo crossing, and it's a conservation reserve area as well. Now, if I was down at the Oolloo Sandbar, Oolloo crossing in particular, do you think I'd be standing in water like this?
No.
Why not?
The thing behind you.
That's right. That fellow behind me is not real. I would not be in here otherwise. That's out of here. That is a crocodile. Saltwater crocodiles. They're the more worrying ones. However, never underestimate the freshwater crocodiles too. They certainly, if they feel threatened, they will have a go at you as well. But generally, they'll stay away from us. It's the saltwater crocs that we definitely need to be very aware of. So I'm hoping that most of you, if not all, I'll be very proud if you all are aware of crocwise. You heard of crocwise? No?
Yes.
Okay, if you haven't, crocwise is just telling you to be really smart about being wise around our waterways. Any body of water can have a crocodile, a saltwater crocodile.
When you see a crocodile sign.
So it's obviously billabongs, lagoons, river systems, Oolloo crossing, renowned for having crocodiles in them. So yeah, if you can hang on to your question, I will get back to you shortly as well. Unless you tell me there's a monitor or something, or Barra. No? But hang on to it. Thank you. But yeah, the river system itself is quite unique. And obviously with river systems and billabongs and lagoons and even crossings like this, you've got very important, not only for the wildlife, you've got this incredible plant life here as well. This is known as riparian plants or vegetation, and it helps to support the banks in particular, keeps them nice and stable. So if that wasn't there, what would be a problem there? It would all erode, wouldn't it? Just go into the water, we wouldn't have any stabilising sandbanks and things like that. So that vegetation is exceptionally important. Now, it not only does stabilise through obviously the sand itself, but it provides shelter, it provides food for the animals that live here as well. So birds will love to go in here for these flowering plants. There'll be insects around for them to catch. Not just the birds though. These guys in the water as well, and fish. Now fish have certainly learned to adapt to opportunities. If things fall into the water, they'll eat them. But some of these fish have got unique adaptations to get things into the water as well. Now going back to the crocodiles, not only are there crocs in around these areas, in freshwater areas, river systems particularly, what other predator can be found in these freshwater areas?
Sharks.
That's right, I was about to say my little cue is dead. Anyway, but it is, yes, bull sharks. Bull sharks can be found around our waterways in particular. So never underestimate them either. Now these big fish that are cruising around me at the moment, these are freshwater whiprays. I will talk about them shortly and give them a feed as well. I'm actually going to start talking about our barra, even though they're not here at the moment. I'm hoping they'll come over. Is that awesome? Lovely. At least you can see it. If you have never seen barramundi, please make your way down and have a look at them while I'm talking about them. The barramundi are quite unique. Have you got one there? There's something there. I don't have polarising glasses.
Yeah, he's right there.
Oh, yep. Awesome. I'm going to see if he'll come over. Let's see. He might come over, he may not. But the barramundi, people know these fish in particular from the fishing perspective. They're quite incredible fish as fish species. Now, they definitely live around our Indo-Pacific areas, our Oceania, so of course Australia, through Asia, through Southeast Asia, Papua New Guinea, all those sort of areas as well. So the barramundi, the other names they go by includes sea bass, giant sea bass, and Asian, I've just gone out of my head now, sea bass as well, Asian sea bass I think it is as well. So there's all these different names they go by. So they actually got that name, so they were known as sea bass in particular. Barramundi, the name comes from an indigenous name that refers to big river scaled fish. So they live in these freshwater areas, but they also live in saltwater areas as well. And they do have quite large scales as an adult as well. The life of the barramundi is really interesting. When they start off, when they hatch out, they're all males. Now they need to go into the brackish waters. So the boys, this time of year when the monsoons come through, it gets very active. So a lot of fisher people are loving to go fishing around this time, looking for barramundi. They'll go around to estuaries and brackish water, but it's also the breeding grounds for these animals too. So the males will meet the females there, and these females can produce up to millions, 32 I think is like an average, millions of eggs per barramundi female. So there's a lot of eggs. They actually sexually change from females to males at a size, and it also is the brackish water that helps them with that as well. The size particularly, there'll be the catch size, I think is a minimum is 55 centimetres. Correct me if I'm wrong there, I'm pretty sure it's 55 centimetres. So from about, I think it's up to 60, 70, I feel like I'm being stalked here, they will change into females. So when you're getting fish or barramundi that are over a metre or up to a metre, they're our big girls. The ones that are over a metre have probably gone past their breeding season more so, but the ones in between, sort of from about I think 65 to about 85 centimetres in length, are females, and they are the breeding females. So it's really important to kind of put them back and keep that breeding cycle going.
Yes, angelfish,
For everybody.
Angelfish.
Now the barramundi, of course,
You pull to you,
they
want
are
to?
also an ambush hunter. So they'll sit, wait and watch like it's doing perfectly there.
Oh,
The
turn it
lure
up.
comes in,
Turn it
we're
up.
obviously going to go for that.
Idag
Fish
går
comes
donkey.
past, they are going to
Just
move
waiting
to
there.
that too. I'm hoping
Turn it up.
sample. Waiting for the,
there,
the
the big one.
barra and are very aware of the,
Barramundi.
obviously the
Barramundi.
Whiprays. They've been trained also to pick up any fish that the barra miss. So, hoping I'll get one of the barra at least to do a little demonstration. Come on over.
Jump.
He's getting chased now.
Oh,
Nice. We'll try anyway. Let the tarpon will go there instead, and then the ray will get it. So that's why we don't feed them over there. Hi, Geraldine. She's the pushy one. She's the pushy one. She's like, oi, really time. So let me know when that barrel's back again. It's hard to see from here. With that barramundi, what they do though, as they come up to grab the fish, they're actually extending their mouth out really quite quickly. They suck in that water, and that's this incredible sound we hear, a boof sound. And that's actually sucking that water in and the prey in as well. They don't really have teeth as such. They'll have these sort of raspy kind of edge on around the jaw, and it sort of acts like teeth and stuff. It will help break up things, but generally they swallow the food whole. And if they're actually grinding it up a little bit, anything they can't eat, they'll shoot out the gills as well. But generally, they'll just take that whole food in, and water comes out through the gills. The boofing sound that we'll hear is that suction note. They'll usually come up to the surface. Fisher people love to hear that sound. They'll be like, oh, we're on. We're going fishing for barramundi. So there's a good chance you'll get them. If you do hear that sound, they'll be out there hunting at that time. So the barramundi, as I said, like as they get larger, and certainly around the brackish water, they need to breed. What are you doing? Yeah, she does. They always want food, these guys. But as the barramundi are going up into these brackish waters for that breeding side of certainly active at that time of year, around that monsoon time, this time of year, they'll start going to these areas. But some areas they're going to be isolated. So if they've gone up into the river systems and it's cut off from the rivers, those populations will still grow, but will be females. They're unable to breed as such. So yeah, they have to come back to that brackish water to actually breed. So it's a big journey for them. So some of these fish get absolutely exhausted. Like you would have heard, a lot of us have heard stories about and particularly overseas, with the Atlantic salmon and their journey that they take to go upriver to go in and get to their breeding or their spawning, basically. That's where they refer to it. The journey they make is huge, and they're up against all things, not just the current, but the predators that might be there as well. The barramundi would have something similar coming into the areas, maybe from saltwater up into the river systems, in that brackish area around the mangroves, things like that are really important. Once they've spawned, females produce the eggs and the males fertilise those eggs. They have nothing to do with them. So they're on their own. And that protection of places like mangroves are so vital for so many of our fish species. Not just fish, but lots of other animals, particularly fish though. So if we love fish, we're going to need to look after our mangroves as well. Now, he's not going to come over. I'm going to try my best to get one maybe. Oh, he's still a bit shy about it. You did take it? That's one. I've got him maybe a little bit encouraging here. I'll try one more.
No.
Oh, the tarpon took that. You've got to be quick, mate. You did. Well, that's okay. So yeah, exactly. I'm trying to lure him over. Like I said, they've just had a bit of disturbance with the guys coming and cleaning up in here. They have to do that, try and get so you could see the fish, but there's so much of the water that's around. I might try one more. Go for it. He's going to sit there, and Ray's going to get it. But like I said, they're ambush predators. If that had gone a little bit closer, he may have actually gone and looked at it. I was hoping to get some sound out of him. Might try him a bit later. But I've got some other fish over here. They will make it. Where have you gone? These little guys with spots on. Does anyone know what they are?
Archer fish.
They're fish, did someone say? Smart ass. Okay, so smarty pants. There we go. Here we go. Take a leap. Yes. Archer fish. So the archer fish are doing exactly what an archer would do. Quite unique the way they're shaped as well. Notice where the dorsal fin is on the back. It's right at the back. It allows them to sort of arch right back to shoot that water up. Now the way that these guys, they'll be relying on this vegetation to actually find the food. Insects are up there. They've got a great eyesight. They can look through the refraction of the water, the curvature of the water, and then they'll take aim. Just thinking about it. They'll take aim, and then they'll basically shoot a jet of water up and hit that insect up to about 1.5 metres and knock it off into the water. The catch is that particular fish may not actually get the reward, as sometimes is the case here, and he's looking around. I know what he's doing. He's like, I really, really want that, but I know there's other fish here. If he's so concentrating on trying to spit it and misses it, then everyone else gets the reward. So he did do a good shoot though before, which is great. Wait for this Ray to get out of the way, yeah, you know, don't you? So we've got 3 species of archerfish here. We've got the primitive, which have no spots. We've got 5 spotted and 7 spotted. Did anyone count the spots on this one and tell me which one it is? 7. It's actually 7 on these ones. A good try. Yeah, some of them are blended in quite well, so no, he's not going to come back now. Oh, a couple others thinking about it. Again, like it's competition now. So there's usually only 2 that will fire off a bit of, here he goes, thinking, oh, okay, yes, good job. Awesome.
Yeah.
Here you go, mate, you can have another one.
It's like a water pistol.
Yeah, and so how they do it is really interesting too. They'll actually use their mouth in particular, they'll move it and shape it to be able to project that water up into the air. So it does form that like a jet spray. So it really is quite unique. So by shaping the mouth, the groove of the mouth a little bit as well, and they probably push with the tongue a little bit, they can get that water up, that spout of water, jet of water up to about 1.5 metres. And they're deadly accurate as well. They've done a lot of research on these guys, archerfish. They found in around in those Pacific areas as well. One more chance. I'm just trying to get one more to have a go, but the tarpon are like, no, it's our turn now. Come on, mate, one more. I don't know if he's going to, but I'll give it to him anyway if he doesn't. If he gives him some indication. He's looking, so he keeps checking back here. He's like, hang on a minute, there's a lot of hard work here. Yes, beautiful. So really cool little fish, these archerfish. Cool. Now the tarpon, are these milky kind of looking ones, like greeny blue kind of looking ones? Okay. These are really quite interesting fish. So have anyone heard of the name tarpon before? Oxide herring is another one they go by as far as names are concerned. They're quite a bony fish, sometimes known as bony fish. But tarpon is the most common name, and they are found in the Atlantic areas and also here in the Indo-Pacific areas as well. So of course in Australia along the coastlines they're found in marine and in freshwater areas. Now these guys, careful, these guys are known sometimes as mouth breathers. They'll actually come up to the water surface and gulp bits of air, and that gives them some nutrients, enough to be able to survive basically. They're such an important species as far as environmental conditions are concerned, especially around our waterways. So if you see dead fish, obviously report it, but if you see dead tarpon, please do get hold of fisheries ASAP. Also really important, if you don't know fisheries, if you see park rangers, let them know so they can contact those other authorities, the fishery authorities. The reason why is because there is something else in the water that's going on. They can survive really depleted oxygen levels in water. So if it's somewhere where water areas like billabongs and lagoons start to dry up, fish like tarpon can survive because they'll use their swim bladder to act as an extra respiratory organ to help them survive. They'll they'll come up to the surface and get bits of air as well. So if you see dead tarpon, there'll be something else going on in the water. It could be chemicals or something else, pesticides or anything going on in the water. So if you see dead tarpon, definitely do report them to the authorities like fisheries, really important. So they're an indicator species as to the health and of our environment in our waterways. Now these little fish here too, guys, can you see them all around? These are rainbow fish, which most of us see if you're going swimming in our waterways as well. You got a question now?
It's got 3 questions.
3 questions.
How many stingrays are in here?
They are whiprays, and there are 3.
And I don't know stingray.
And why aren't they stinging me?
Thankfully, they're being well behaved. I always get worried at this depth, so yeah, they'll push each other out the way, and they'll get pushy with me to want food, and I'm going to ignore that behaviour because I don't want to get pushed, and then by pushing me, they're saying, hey, we want my fish. If I reward that behaviour, they're going to continue to do that. So the behaviour I'll give them is doing their natural behaviour, coming up when I cue them, which I'm about to do shortly when this one heads off. Otherwise, I'm going to be walking backwards and he's going to be pushing me. So yeah, they're pretty good. They know us and they know that we're not a danger or threat to them. So that's the reason.
If I go in the water, will I get stung by it?
If you stepped on them, yes, probably.
And how do they sting you?
But other than that, you can come in and be fine. We do paid encounters, but you don't come all the way in. We obviously have a safety reason for it, and if you're 14 and over, you can do it. So yeah.
And how do they sting you?
Good
How do they
questions.
sting you?
Pardon?
How do they sting you?
I'll explain that very soon. Good question. Hang on a minute. Got another one?
What's the difference between them and stingrays?
Stingrays. I knew you were going to ask me this. I was meant to research a little bit. Basically, it's water. The fact that stingrays are in marine water, these guys are fresh water. The tail would be probably a little longer than some of the stingrays as well. And there'll be other maybe disc features about them that will make them a little different as well. So.
There's
These
a turtle.
live in
There's a
fresh water.
turtle!
Stingrays. There's a turtle. Where is he? Oh yes. That there is a yellow-faced turtle. He does make an appearance every now and then, which is really nice. Hi Geraldine, I know. I'm just going to wait for you to go. Now guys, while she's coming to you, can you see those sort of holes in the side of it?
Yep.
Yep, they're spiracles, which we're going to hopefully see a good example of. Walk backwards and bring them up here. So we got one coming in now. The rays will come up to the shallows and they'll try and trap fish or even try and take shellfish under the sand as well. Now you've got to... Okay, another one. Can you hear that sucking? You hear that? It's a bit quiet today. But what they're doing is actually sucking the fish up. And in this case, if it's something like a shellfish under the sand, they're going to feel that vibration of that shellfish moving around. They move over the top of it. That big disc will kind of trap down a little bit. And that's also how they have that mobility. They pretty much, they look beautiful, graceful in the water, just flickering along on the edge there to move them around. And they'll come over the top of that sandy area and then suck the fish up. While they're doing that, they're also bringing up sand, and you can see it shooting out there. So anything they can't digest, they get rid of. Sand, even bones, scales, sometimes they'll shoot them out of those, what they call spiracles. So they're kind of like their gills as well. Another one coming in. Their eyesight isn't great either.
Really?
Come on. This is Geraldine, our big girl. Now we're still learning about these guys too. Come on. That's that noise you can hear. Now with the disc they got here, where the tail is, and probably about a foot away from the base of that tail where the disc is, the tail comes out. Along the top of that, the dorsal side, they've got barbs. Those barbs are what they use for defense. Now you asked that great question about how they use them. So if a crocodile or a bull shark comes along and tries to grab them around that area, they will then bring the tail up and jab that barb into the predator, and hopefully they'll let go. Generally they will. One will be the pain of that barb going in, absolutely. Imagine that, like it's probably about that wide, when they're like the hairs at least will be that wide, and they'll be longer than my fingers are reaching right now. They're also on the edge, they've got the actual centre part, the shaft, and the barbs all go up one way. So once it goes in, when you pull it, you don't want to pull it out by the way, they'll actually wedge in there. They're designed to do that. So the pain of that would hurt. More importantly, there's venom on it as well. So it is, I know, I'm trying to find, she's still got hers. They can have up to 3 barbs, by the way. Once they lose one, another one will grow, but it takes, I think it's up to 12 months to grow. So it's along the top there, and they're kind of, the tail, I can see at least 2 there. The way the skin is, it sort of sits underneath it, and you can just see it. So hopefully when they come past, have a good look at the tail, you'll get to see them that way as well. But that barb is really important. It will help to obviously get rid of the predators. The venom itself is obviously dangerous, and it could hurt or kill people. People will obviously react to differently to venom. Does anyone know the first aid for barbs for these guys?
Leave them in.
What I mean. Geraldine will come back around in a sec. That was Raylene, I think, pushing him out the way. Pushing her out the way, I should say. Now, the first aid, you might have noticed right behind me, there's a flask there. It's not for a coffee or a tea, or it could be, but it is hot water. And basically what you want to do is put your foot into a bucket or something to get your foot and pour the hot water over, but not to create 3rd-degree burns or scald yourself. You want it so you can tolerate the temperature, so it's going to be hot, but hot enough that it will get rid of, or actually what they will, it will actually deneuralize as such the venom itself off the barb. So that's what the hot water will do itself. So that will relieve some pain. If the barb's stuck in the leg, for example, or anywhere in your body, would you pull it out?
No.
Absolutely not. Why would you not pull it out?
Probably in an artery or something.
Perfect. Yep, absolutely perfect. So it could be in a bar. It will hurt for starters to pull it out. So you want to wrap it around, secure it, so that, so that you're not actually going to pull it out. Just that minimise that risk. Getting hot water onto it is really important. It will help that relieve the pain. It's still going to hurt, but and then get yourself to a hospital straight away. So that's your first aid. Hot water, and wrap that barb up and just try and keep nice and calm, basically. So if you're ever going into the waterways and happen to step on one, make sure you've got a hot flask somewhere that you can use. So take coffee, tea, whatever you need, you know you're going to be covered. But hopefully you don't ever encounter one. I know a couple of people that have, and they said it's some of the most excruciating pain they've ever had. So yeah. Yep.
Have you ever been stung by one?
No. And I like to keep it that way. Yeah. Yeah, you got to be pretty careful. And I've dived with these guys too. So we know there's certain cases where, like Steve Irwin's the classic, where he got done by a stingray. And that's very sad, unfortunately. Okay, Geraldine, you have to move. Alright, good job. So under that disc, by the way, if I put a fish under it, they can sense that movement, and that's enough for them to go back over the top. Unless they're not hungry, they certainly will keep going with that food. And that's her continuing to eat. We're giving a mullet, by the way. So these are mullet, feeding them that. But we can vary that diet a little bit with other fish as well. But I have to say, mullet would probably be one of their favourite fish in here to eat. So again, we do feed them enough to hunt on the others, but they could still, if they're coming up, they could even get some of these rainbow fish every now and then as well. Look out! Ready, yeah. Is it raining? But you can also see the ribs on these guys too. Another one. So guys, the train should be here shortly as well. I'm just going to keep feeding these guys. If you've got some more questions, hang on to them. I'll come and help answer them for you. But the options are to walk down to the aquarium via the dingoes, have a look down there. Or you can certainly stay here and wait for the train. It will be here shortly. If you have any questions, obviously I'll try and help answer them. But enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for coming along and having a listen as well. And look after our waterways as well. Thank you guys. Yep.
Thank you.